Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Great Expectations. Chapter 16, Rowing Toward Freedom. Wednesday, 2 days away, was set for Magwitch's escape. On Monday and Tuesday, Herbert and I made inquiries about the foreign steamers that would be leaving at a time when our rowboat could meet up with them. We settled on one for Hamburg, Germany, and found out what she looked like. The plan was to row down the Thames River to Clara's house. When Magwitch saw us coming, he would come down the stone steps to the river. It was necessary to go downriver on a previous tide and lie in wait for our steamer to approach. Startop and Herbert would row and I would steer. Startop was not taken into our confidence and was only told this was just a little secret outing we were indulging in. While I secured passports with the help of Mr. Jaggers, Herbert alerted Startop and Magwitch. Both Herbert and I had a feeling of being watched, but could not detect no one following us. We were probably overly nervous. Wednesday was one of those March days when it felt like summer in the sun and winter in the shade. Herbert and I wore heavy jackets, and I took a bag with toilet articles and a few changes of clothes. When I was going, what I thought there were questions I did not think about. Magwitch's safety was my only concern for now. As I went out the door of our rooms, I turned for one last look. I would probably never see them again. Startop was waiting by my boat, and we cast off at 8:30 a.m. Soon we were part of the river traffic of coal barges, steamers, oyster boats, and rowboats like ours, with their occupants out for pleasure or exercise. We intended to row with the tide until it turned at 3. Then we could continue on rowing until it got dark. This would take us somewhere between Kent and Essex, where the river is broad and solitary. We would put up overnight in some isolated inn, then waited for our Hamburg steamer, which would be about starting from London with the tide about 9 a.m. on Thursday. As we rowed toward the stone steps by Clara's house, we saw Magwitch coming down to meet us. We wore a cloak and carried a black canvas bag, an outfit which made him look like a river pilot. We pulled over quickly, and Herbert gave him a hand on board. Magwitch put an arm on my shoulder and said, "Faithful, dear boy, that was well done." Thank you. I pressed to see his hand and looked nervously about to see if anyone was watching him aboard. Everything seemed normal, so we proceeded downriver. Magwitch smoked his pipe, and that was the least anxious of us all. At nightfall, we came to opposite a rundown inn. The innkeeper and his wife looked like villains, yet they served a good and generous meal while we ate by the fireplace. Herbert and Startop, who now knew of the escape plan, were tired out from their day of rowing and slept heavily. I shared a room with Magwitch, for I didn't like him to have him out of my sight. I slept with most of my clothes and woke several times during the night, thinking I heard men's voices. The last time I heard these voices, I looked out the window in the moonlight. I could see the pier where we tiered our boat. 2 men were looking in it, but they continued onto the marsh without a glance toward the inn. I guess they were customs inspectors. The next morning, we were up early and back in the boat. We stayed in the shelter part of the bank until 1:30 when we saw the smoke of the Hamburg steamer. Magwitch and I readied ourselves with our 2 bags. I shook hands with Startop and Herbert. Neither Herbert's eyes nor my own were quite dry. As we rowed onto the path, the steamer bearing down on us, another rowboat from another spot on the bank did the same. The rowers drew alongside us, leaving just enough room for the play of the oars. Aside from the rowers, there was one man steering and yet another sitting wrapped in a cloak and whispering instructions to the steerer. The man in the cloak hailed us. "You have a returned convict with you. I order Abel Magwitch to surrender, and I order you to assist in apprehending him." At the same moment, his rowers pulled away and in front of us, blocking our way. Hands reached out and held our boat fast to theirs. This caused great confusion aboard the steamer, with some voices calling to us and others commanding their paddles to stop. Yet the steamer still bore down on us. The steersman in the rowboat leaned into our boat and laid his hand on Magwitch's shoulder, but Magwitch leaned across and pulled the cloak away from the man who was giving orders. The face that was revealed I was that of my other convict. I had seen on the marshes in my boyhood. It was Compeyson. Terror-stricken, Compeyson lurched backward as Magwitch threw himself from our boat onto him, tossing the boat in the water. In the process, Magwitch capsized our boat. I was in the water for only a few moments when I was pulled into the other rowboat. Herbert was pulled in next, then Startop. I looked frantically and spotted Magwitch feebly swimming. The rowers spotted him too and hauled him on board, chaining him at the wrists and ankles. Our escape plan had failed. That is the end of that chapter. See you later.